It's that time of the week again, Tuesday night, and in the SRL, that means one thing, it's game night. To all those around the world sitting in the comfort of your own homes, it's time. Welcome to SRL TV, the opening game of round 4 in the SRL Premiership. I'm Logan Strange, joined in the commentary box by Jack O'Neill. Jack, the Panthers coming up against the Seagulls, who are on a 17-game winning streak. My question to you, when does the streak end?
This streak ends round 7 this year. Eli Barnes with the hat trick. It's Canberra time, baby. But this is going to be an awesome game. I'm so keen for this.
Panthers off a win last week, their first win in a couple of seasons. You're saying to me you don't feel like the Panthers have a chance tonight?
Look, it's going to be a tough night for Penrith. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, but Manly are just so good.
Well, okay, the ball on the tee. The referee looks to his touchies and the game is underway. And it's the Panthers with their hands on the ball for the first half. And Luke Malkus, as he does every week, takes that first hit up of the game. And they make an early breakthrough. Sean Bradford as well, already up just short of the halfway line. They'll be looking to get off to a good start here, Penrith. Pack sizes are relatively even. The Panthers have recruited well in the off-season and will match Manly pretty well in this first half, you'd have to say. It's all about the second 40 minutes as Elms takes a settler just over the halfway line. The centre field this time, it's Sinclair taken in a good tackle. A couple of those Seagulls players eventually take them down. They get through their first set, and it's Ash Crutcher who punches it down to Malachi Booth, who has been one of those better wingers of the season so far, Jack.
Yeah, for a big man, Malachi Booth's footwork is absolutely exceptional. You know, I'm watching this first set from Penrith at the moment, and they really rolled downfield. They got a lot of quick play the balls. Manly, they were holding on quite a bit, so I think there's definitely going to be a little bit of tactics in this game, but a great start from Penrith early on.
He talked about Malachi Booth, 4 tries so far this season, 15 line breaks. Really is becoming a dangerous player on that left edge for the Seagulls. As Goodwin charges it forward, they're inside the Penrith 30 here, setting up around about 23 metres out. Final tackle to the pocket is Dingo. He'll put it high. A slight headwind for the Seagulls in this opening half. Oldfield comes down for it, finds Booth on the outside, but a good covering tackle by one of the Penrith players, and they survive that early assault. Penrith take it out by Ash Turner.
Yeah, really great take there from Maverick Oldfield. I thought the kick was a little bit too shallow from us. There's a knock on here from Penrith. Manly are going to be right on the attack. They're in a bit of trouble here now, Penrith.
Maverick Oldfield, another one of those players who is starting to really up the tempo, and his career is starting to find some good form here under the leadership of Harrison Kane. Chapman Kenny just charges through the Penrith defensive line, and the Seagulls go in early. Jesse Bennett, what a run by the big fella.
What a barnstorming run from Bennett. He just runs over the top of the Panthers defender. He's absolutely smashed him. What a start. That is one of the best runs you'll see. What a try from Jesse Bennett. Moving into the front row, we've got Matthew Harris out on his usual left-hand edge, and it's working wonders so far. What a run.
A little bit of a misread in defence there. It was Mark Lee and Lachlan Sinclair who didn't really know which of the two was going for Bennett, and it was eventually Mark Lee, I think, who got shrugged off by Jesse Bennett. His 4th try in the SRL. Conversion is successful, so after only 5 minutes of play, it's the Seagulls who take the early lead, coming from that Penrith mistake after we said they got through that first set unscathed, and they will be looking to regroup and put on a good defensive effort here as the game is restarted. Mark Lee sends it down, and the try scorer Jesse Bennett takes it forward for a good hit up just short of the Manly 20.
one of the most underrated characteristics of that man, Jesse Bennett, is his leg drive. You see, he got hit just over that 10-metre line of Manly, and he drove all the way to the 20. He's got a lot of skills there. Is this going to be an error now from Manly, and Luke Malchus picks the loose ball up?
Yes, Jesse Bennett getting some big run metres last season, averaging 179 metres per game so far in season 4. Sinclair will set it up on the 20. Centre field as Lee looks left, finds Kennedy, passes out to Isaac Edwards, playing in the centres for the second time in a row. They come right. Kennedy finds Lachlan Martin, gets the hands free and finds Malchus, who drives the legs inside the Manly red zone. Quick play the ball. Crutcher cut out pass to Markwell. He gets the ball to Ash Turner. He'll be hard to stop, but the Seagulls defence roll it onto his back and the referee says held up. Restarting from the 10. Lee finds Crutcher. Final tackle, puts it up. Win behind the Panthers in this first 40. Doesn't really get much assistance, and Joey Kelly comes down with it. His second game for the Seagulls. Got 50, ran about 58 kick return metres last week, Joey Kelly. His first game for the Seagulls. What do you think about that opening performance from him, Jack?
Yeah, look, he was solid. You know, I think that it's one of those things that it was a very surprising when that trade was confirmed. But, you know, Joey is an absolute exceptional talent in the SRL. And I'm sure as he finds his feet, works on those combinations with those Manly players, he's going to really explode towards the back end of the season, which is when Manly want him at their best.
Yeah, so the exchange was between him and Creed Alexander Chapman. Alexander Chapman, his first game for the Broncos last week, starting at the number 13, ran for 170 metres. Finds himself on the bench for the Broncos this week. That was obviously from an injury that he sustained in that game. But we will see how that goes as Fisher, the number 1 tonight for Penrith, cuts through the defence into the Manly half. They go. Again, hands on the ball from an offload. Luke Malchus this time. Looking for a quick play the ball. Fisher gets it. On the Manly 30, Sinclair bumps off one through the middle. Support on the inside from Malchus. Instead, it's Jesse Bennett who comes up with the ball. Sinclair just fumbled it for a moment as he got the hands free. And the Seagulls on the counter-attack through Dingo.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Penrith are playing some really attractive rugby league. They're throwing the ball around. They're chucking offloads. They're looking really, really solid as this is some great ball work as well from Manly. On to Kelly. Oh, wow, that's some awesome ball work.
Just Josh Saddle-Cart on that far wing who took down Kelly around the ankles. His punch through the middle, Daniel Punch, and he will go in just to the right of the uprights, and Manly score their second.
Yeah, look, we see two contrasting runs there. We saw, of course, Lachlan Sinclair, after being absolutely bulldozed by Jesse Bennett for their first try. He made a strong run, but ends up giving the ball away. We go to the other end of the field. Manly make a strong run through the middle, and this time they score through punch. Disappointing defense in the middle there from Penrith. They'll be disappointed with that, but they are playing good footy. You know, they're moving the ball around. They're getting offloads. They're getting their danger men into space. Unfortunately, they're just giving the ball away in critical moments at the moment, Penrith.
Britton, the ball off to that wing of Joey Kelly. Daniel Punch, though, the try scorer, has been one of the finds of the season for Manly. He's averaging 125 metres per game. He's had 8 line breaks so far this season, 41 tackles, very active within that Manly front row, and he's definitely solidifying his spot for the Seagulls, and caps it up with his 3rd try in the SRL. So 12 points to 0, 12 coming up, 13 minutes gone here at Brookvale. Mark Lee gets the game back underway once again, and Brad Goodwin this time charging it up just short of the Manly 20. So setting it up here, the Seagulls had numbers to the left, they stay right. Bennett taking it forward. Constantly looking for the quick play the ball here, the Seagulls, as they've got their wingers and their fullback to the right of KCK. They come left to Harris. Good tackle on him by, looks like it was Ash Crutcher. Little man on big man. Dingo cut out pass to Goodwin. Still continuing to use their big forwards for this first set after that Daniel Punch try. Final tackle now. Kay will be forced to kick from just over the halfway line. Finds Marshall Edwards, who gets away from one, taken down by a couple of tackles and just short of the halfway line. Marshall Edwards, his first real performance for the Panthers last week, and had a really good game for that side, their first win of the season after starting the season in the centres for Penrith. As Martin takes that one up, just short of the 20, tackle 4. They come right, Malchus, dummies 1, eventually finds Sinclair. Good leg drive from the front rower. Final tackle was Lee, comes right to Kennedy, playing in the halves again this week, Brodie Kennedy, but it's Booth who takes it down, and he tries to make a couple of metres as well, but taken down by Ash Turner.
Yeah, look, a great take from Malachi Booth. Isn't the most vertically gifted player in the SRL, but it was a great take. It was a pretty good kick from Brodie Kennedy too. But then what was most impressive was that as soon as Booth catches that ball, he's able to put on some footwork and make some meters and not be forced in by the Penrith defence. So Manly, they're back on the attack now.
Back on the attack. I'm just going to quickly go through these two lineups that we have for us today. A couple of changes along both sides, but starting off with Manly, it's Kane Chapman-Kenny at fullback, Malachi Booth and Joey Kelly on the wings, Maverick Oldfield and Joshua Blackburn continuing the centres as Fisher returns that one well up to the halfway line. In the halves, Will Kay and Chaz Dingo continuing to build that new halves combination for the Seagulls. Up front, Brad Goodwin, Kyle Lewis and Jesse Bennett. And the back row, Matthew Harris, Daniel Punch and Lennox Prakash. On the bench, Hayden Mallett, Ben Punch, Ethan Goodwin and Matthew Vaughan as the Panthers continue. And Turner makes a break, but he's given the ball away. Prakash comes away with it. And that's the third mistake in the opening 20 minutes for the Panthers. And they've, like you've said, Jack, they've played well so far, even though they have conceded 2 tries. But they are just conceding along with it a little bit too many errors. They really need to cut those errors down if they want to compete with these sides who are in the top 4, as we see the Seagulls make it an error themselves.
Yeah, for sure. This is the Panthers' chance now. They've got a really, really good opportunity to post some points or at least put some pressure on.
So it's Sinclair to set it up around about 12 metres out. They come left. Short ball to Lachlan Martin, the captain, driving close to the line. He will be taken down. A good tackle around the ankles by Kane Chapman-Kenny. A metre out here. Mark Lee goes flat to Crutcher. Nowhere to really move for the little 5'8", but he struggles over. Brad Goodwin was in the tackle. We're going to go up to the bunker to have a look. But for me, I think he got this one down.
Yep, he's definitely got that ball down. Great run from Ash Crutcher, but he can put it up to that effort from Lachlan Martin. It was a really strong run. Got a quick play the ball, and then Ash Crutcher. He's a nuggety little player who's got great footwork, but he's strong too, and he drives himself over the line for Penrith's first try of the game.
Penrith's first try of the game. Ash Crutcher's second for the Panthers. Has had quite a lot of luck as a 5'8", dotting over the line. 7th try of his career. Coming over to the Panthers with Isaac Edwards in the off-season. Converts as well as Mark Lee. 12 points to 6. The first quarter is in the books. Looks like a couple of substitutions are ready to come onto the field. Just looking at the sideline at the moment. Looks like Hayden Mallett and Ben Punch looking to come on for the Seagulls, while Ollie Pace, or should I say Ollie Pache, and Tim Ball looking to make their way onto the park for Penrith. As we are back underway, Ash Turner takes it forward. We'll go through this Panthers lineup as well. And Nathan Fisher at fullback, Marshall Edwards and Robbie Elms on the wing. Then Markwell, Isaac Edwards in the centres. As we see a possible knock on there for Penrith. No, Kennedy manages to pick it up. Referee says it went backwards. in the halves. We talked about Brodie Kennedy, Ash Crutcher already. 40-20 by Sean Bradford. So the Panthers, a good opportunity to go back-to-back here. Brodie Kennedy will take the first hit up. They're about 5 metres out. We'll continue with this lineup in a moment. Crutcher gives it to... And Nathan Fisher, the experience shows through. Got a good short ball from Ash Crutcher and got around some lackluster defence, you'd have to say. It looks like it was Chaz Dingo who was done for all money. And Nathan Fisher goes in for his first try of the season.
Nathan Fisher gets that beautiful pass there from Ash Crutcher. He locks eyes with Chaz Dingo. Goosey, shimmy, try time. What a try. Shows his pace there, but I got to put that try down to that beautiful 40-20 from Sean Bradford. That was a superb play, and all of a sudden, Penrith are right back in this game.
That's right. They are well and truly back in this game. Nathan Fisher's first try since season 2. So he is back on the score sheet. Locked up at 12 all. 23 and a half minutes gone here at Brookvale Oval. Tuesday night in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. If you have not joined, if you have not registered for the SRL yet, head to our Discord. The link is in the description of this video. And you can yourself get a part and be the player here in the SRL Premiership. Just getting back to that Panthers lineup. Luke Malchus, Mark Lee and Lachlan Sinclair, the tried and trusted front row for the Panthers. And then Lachlan Martin, the captain, Ash Turner and Sean Bradford at the number 13 on the bench. And on the field at the moment, Ollie Pache and Tim Ball. And looking to come on at half-time is Anthony Delaney and Cameron Relentless, as the Panthers look to get through their first set after that try to Nathan Fisher. Bradford setting it up with that great 40-20. Not a player that we've known or come to know as a kicker of the ball, but definitely setting that try up as Kennedy punches it down to the wing of Joey Kelly. The Panthers chase hard and they take him down short of the Manly 30.
I can't believe I just said goosey, shimmy. I should have stayed in commentary retirement. But I'll tell you what, the Panthers are up for this game at the moment. They're rolling downfield now. They're just this style of footy that I'm seeing them play. I've never really seen them play a style like this, but it's, you know, it's high risk, obviously. There's always a chance of intercepts or drop ball, but these conditions are perfect for it, and they're playing a really good brand of footy. Manly, they're really good at taking pressure and then putting it back in. They stay with you. They're at you all game. I wonder how they're going to respond.
Well, that opening 20 minutes of the game, it was all Manly and them showing us how they can spread the ball and tiptoeing down the sideline as Marshall Edwards and the young rookie does a very good job in staying in the field of play. I think for a moment he was hoping the ball was going to hit over the side of the in goal, but the bounce of the ball just didn't go the way of the Panthers and they had to make their way out. But they've done a good job so far. Tim Ball on the 40. This last 15 minutes or 12 minutes of the first half is going to be a big 12 minutes for Penrith. Either they concede a try or they could possibly even go into the sheds in front. They definitely do look like the side who are a little bit more momentum at the moment, as Kennedy will kick to the wing of Malachi Booth for the third time. Dangerous on returns, taken down by Ash Crutcher as he makes his way out to the Manly 40. Quick play the ball as well. Chapman Kenny through the middle, slices through some Panthers defence. And I'm not sure who it was that came across. Fisher was there. It could have been Nathan Fisher as well, as took them down as Kay cuts back on the inside. All of a sudden, inside the Panthers 20, tackle 3. They go to Harris, hint of a knock on. Panthers players looking at the referee. Play on as the call as Lewis goes to Dingo. Another possible knock on, picked up by Lewis. Panthers players complaining as Lewis goes over the line, but he looks to be held up.
Yeah, we're going to go to the bunker just quickly. Logan, you talked about, I guess, momentum and Penrith having it all. All it takes is one run to change the momentum, and Malachi Booth did that.
The Seagulls One of those teams that can change the direction of a game. And the flick of a switch is Kay once again towards the line. But the Panthers' defence so far looks to be hanging on by a string.
We're back to the bunker again. Is this the SRL, the English Super League? This is ridiculous.
Well and truly on his back. Referee needs to make some calls and keep this game moving. Those big It is good for Penrith. Some of those big forwards, Sean Bradford and Luke Malchus in particular, do look very tired. In fact, have Manly got a tackle recount? Looks like they have. Tackle 4 is Kay once again over the line. The Penrith defenders were coming in. I'm not sure if they managed to hold him up this time. Referee says try. I think Will Kay has got it down. And from that angle, I think he has.
Yeah, look, I think Will Kay just likes seeing himself on the big screen. He went to the bunker about 3 times, 2 of them for Will, but finally they get green lights Manly. And, you know, I'll go back to what you said about momentum, Logan. You said Penrith had all the momentum. It just takes one run. Malachi Booth makes a strong run. Then Kane Chapman-Kenny makes a beautiful break. Then Will Kay takes on the defence from the ruck, you know, puts a lot of pressure on the forwards, a lot of fatigue out there at the moment. And then from there, Matthew Harris, they get the set restart, and they just had even with these constant stoppages with the bunker, they just had way too much momentum all of a sudden, Manly, and Penrith all of a sudden 6 points down.
Chaz Dingo really set that one up and found his halves partner in Will Kay, just teetering on that left edge. Dingo really has been stepping up since moving into that halves position, still averaging 174 130 metres per game. That's run metres. Kicking for 174, but he's had 2 assists so far this season. Make that 3 with that try to Will Kay, but 18 points to 12. Conversion was successful. 32 minutes gone here at Brookvale. Tuesday night action here in the SRL. Approaching half-time. Manly back out in front. A 6-point ball game. But we are in for a big one as Booth goes close to the sideline and he's been forced over it. A good tackle by Robbie Elms. Experience showing there. Booth trying to use his size and power to run over Robbie Elms, but Elms, good technique there on the big man, and the Panthers will get possession inside Manly's half with 7.5 minutes remaining.
How big is Malachi Booth? You look at the size comparison between him and Robbie Elms, and Elms did really well to force him over the sideline, and this is Penrith's chance they can get some more points.
Haven't talked much about Robbie Elms so far in this game, and he's sort of one of those players that does seem to go a little bit unnoticed for the Panthers or in the SRL in general. But we might have a look at his stats at some point in this game and really find out sort of where he's been and how he's tracking as the Panthers get to their final tackle. They will look to their experienced half of Brodie Kennedy to put it up, and the Manly Seagulls look to let it bounce as Chapman-Kenny catches it on the bounce, but he's forced in goal, and the Seagulls will return from a dropout. And with 5.5 minutes remaining, the Panthers get another opportunity to try and level it up.
Yeah, it was a torpedo bomb there from Penrith, and I think that Kane Chapman-Kenny was just worried that if he was going to spill that torpedo, then it would have gone straight to the hands of Penrith. He lets it bounce, but it could be disastrous.
It was Nathan Fisher who was charging through, along with Saddle Cart and Ash Turner possibly, and a lot of pressure coming down on Chapman-Kenny as Elms. This time he comes into the shoulder of Malachi Booth, who gets one back on him. That's 1 for 1 there as Ball runs it forward, just short of the 10-metre line. Tackle 4, they'll want to get a good run here. It's Lachlan Martin getting a good short ball, taking it towards the line, 2 metres out. Final tackle. Penrith calling for a penalty there. Held down a little bit too long, Martin felt, as Kennedy puts it up. It's going to come down just short of the try line, not quite where he wanted it to land, as Blackburn takes it down. And with 3.5 minutes remaining, Manly look to survive here.
Yeah, Look, they threw a fair bit at them, Penrith, but Manly's defence is very strong. They are the two-time back-to-back premiers for a reason. I do think that if Penrith can go into half-time only 6 points down or maybe even tied, that would be the best-case option. But if they're only 6 points down, then I think that's a big win for them, and I think they can get a lot of confidence out of that moving into the second half.
Panthers will get one more opportunity before half-time, and they'll get a crucial kick return here. And we talked about Robbie Elms, and let's see if they go towards the wing of Robbie Elms. No, they won't. They'll kick down to the wing of Marshall Edwards, who did well last week, but won't be able to get any further than the 40. Robbie Elms has one of the best kick returns in the competition, averaging over 25 kick return metres per return, so one of the best in the competition, and is becoming one of those lethal wingers. And for Penrith, they really want to get his hands on the ball as much as possible. So just over a minute remaining, tackle 4, just inside Manly's 20. Penrith will have one final opportunity as Edwards cuts back on the inside, beats the Manly defender, and they will want to land the ball right on the try line here as Lee puts it up. It's a short kick once again, coming through as Malachi Booth, and he gets above the pack and takes it down.
Disappointing kick there from Penrith. They were really building to something. They could have had one more shot at them, but unfortunately that bomb just wasn't up to standard, and Manly will go to half-time in the lead as Bennett almost spills the ball.
As the siren sounds here at Brookvale, it's Manly leading 18 points to 12. Welcome back to Brookvale Oval here on a Tuesday night in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. It's the Seagulls who are leading at the break 18 points to 12. As the second half is set to get underway, referee looks to his sidelines and we are good to go as Mark Lee, for not the first time tonight, gets the game back underway. And the Seagulls will go left to right with their big man Jesse Bennett back on the field after that first half stint on the sideline. Jack, it was an interesting first half. The Seagulls getting out to an early 12 points to 0 lead after really throwing the ball around and finding their wingers and making easy breaks up through the Penrith defence. But then it was Penrith who came back with 2 tries of their own to level it up in the opening 30 minutes. What do Penrith need to do in your mind to sort of get back on top of this game? Or do you see the Manly Seagulls sort of running away with it in this last 40 minutes?
Yeah, look, Logan, Penrith showed a whole lot of resilience in that first half. I was really impressed with how they were using the ball. I think defensively at times they were really good. Unfortunately, they were also letting themselves down at times defensively. I think Manly were, picking their numbers quite easily on the edges at times in that first half, but regardless, they're still well and truly in this game. However, I think that 6-point buffer at halftime might just come back to haunt Penrith a little bit. I think Manly will start to get into their rhythm really soon.
Yeah, you talk defensively, missed tackles wise. Manly have had 14 missed tackles in the opening 40. Penrith only 7. As we see Kennedy put it high once again, a little bit too deep from the Manly half, and that was an issue in the first 40 minutes, and they have got the wind in front of them in the second 40, Penrith, but once again, just a little bit too deep and not putting enough pressure on that Manly back 3 to give themselves any real chance.
Yeah, look, Brodie Kennedy moving into the halves. There's been a lot of good things about that move to the halves, but his playmaking still needs to improve a little bit, and it shows it there with that kick. Definitely not his most impressive of the night. I do think he needs to try and run the football a little bit more. I think that's really going to help Penrith's chances in this second half if they can, play a bit unorthodox, do things that Manly won't expect.
Good run by Jesse Bennett, sets them up as Prakash makes one himself, finds Punch on the inside. That's Ben Punch.
Wow.
And the Seagulls strike with their big men just like they did in the first half in the first 5 minutes. They've done it in the second half as well, and I wonder whether the Penrith defence just isn't clicking very well in these first few minutes of each half.
Yeah, look, Big Lenny makes a massive run down the middle. That pass back on the inside, it was long. I was thinking, no, why are you throwing that? It's going to be intercept for sure, but it was taken there by Punch. He was tackled simultaneously, but his leg drive was phenomenal there. He burns them towards the line, and he gets a very, very good try for Manly, who are about to go up by 2 converted tries. And you mentioned their starts, Logan. Penrith, they started the first half in similar fashion, just leaking it cheap and easy meters and points in the middle. Their edge defense hasn't been too bad. They haven't been able to find too many tries on the edges, Manly, but it's all come through the middle. That's something that Lachlan Martin is not going to be impressed with.
So a good try to Manly, and the Penrith Panthers are not out of this game yet. But just like when you come up against these top teams in the competition, you have to be on top of your game for the full 80 minutes. And the Panthers really are going to have to look for their leadership team to step up and support their young rookies in this last 40 minutes if they're going to cause any sort of upset here tonight. So it's Mallet to play the ball. Vaughan, who's come on at half-time, finds Chapman Kenny, who cuts back on the inside, just short of the halfway line. Mallet has come on for Daniel Punch by the looks of things. Ben Punch on the park as well for Brad Goodwin. Ethan Goodwin has come on as well. I'm just looking at the team sheet. It looks like he's come on for Joshua Blackburn in the back line. And Matthew Vaughan, as we mentioned already, has come on for Kyle Lewis. There has been a switch as well. Jesse Bennett and Lennox Prakash have swapped over. So Bennett gone into the 13 and Prakash into the front row. So Bennett looked very fresh at half-time. So that could be a good move for Manly.
Yeah, I saw Jesse Bennett at halftime in the sheds tackling some tackling bags. He has a lot of adrenaline. He's fired up and he wants to go out there and make a big, big impact in this second half, which should be a worrying sign for some of these young Penrith forwards.
On the contrary, for Penrith, Ollie Pache has come on at number 13 for Sean Bradford. Tim Ball is on for Ash Turner. And then in the backs, Anthony Delaney in the centres for Isaac Edwards. And Cameron Relentless on for Lachlan Sinclair. So both sides looking to use their interchange bench in a technical sort of way. You say the captains are looking to any sort of advantage they can find. Matthew Harris and Kane Chapman-Kenny looking for the tried and trusted moves of Jesse Bennett, him floating around that forward pack. In the lock position for the second 40s, Booth finds some metres up that far touchline. Up over 100 metres already in this game. Booth they try to put it on the toe, but Pache comes away with it. And not the end to the set the Seagulls would have been hoping for.
Yeah, great kick pressure and great pick up by Ollie Pache. They can try and roll down field now, Penrith. But I want to know, would there be anything more terrifying as a fullback than watching Manly set to a play to the left and that man Malachi Booth breaking away? He is huge.
He would be a terrifying thing to see coming down the throat, waiting for one of those big torpedo bombs that we've come to see from Chaz Dingo, and you know that Malachi Booth is kind of heading straight for you. I think I'd basically tell Brodie Kennedy, hey, Brodie, can you take this one for me? As Kennedy puts it up himself again, coming off the side of the boot, not the kick he would have been hoping for. Markwell comes down with it, but many Manly defenders around him. And again, Jack, it's that last tackle option for the Panthers, just not putting enough pressure on that Manly try line. And it's just not working out for them at the moment.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I think that Ash Crutcher needs to put his hand up and take a few more kicks. Kenny's taking on Nathan Fisher here. He's going to be hard to stop. He is stopped. Crutcher's a 2-time grand finalist. He's played in Origin games, whereas Brodie Kennedy's only just started to move into that halves position as now Punch breaks through.
It's a combination we've seen. Ben Punch, Daniel Punch and Kane Chapman-Kenny in the lead up to this one as a player is taken out without the ball. Lachlan Martin's come away with it. He doesn't know what to do. He's never seen this before. Acres in front of him. Lachlan Martin. He trapped just down short of the try line. What a run by the big fella. He gets a good quick play the ball. Mark Lee at dummy half finds Crutcher. The Panthers all of a sudden on attack. Manly confused. One of their players taken out without the ball. Referee has said play on. There has to be an investigation.
I think the ref was just wanted to watch Lachlan Martin run. I think he was just in awe of that majestic creature streaking downfield.
7 metres out here, relentless charges it forward. The big man on small man, close to the line, inches short. He'll play the ball, final tackle. They go to Kennedy on the coming through is Fisher, and the big man crosses for a second try of the game. And the Panthers, they strike back and are not done with yet.
I'm just so excited. I got so excited when they scored, but it's all because of the big fella, Lockie Martin, streaking downfield. Matthew Harris and Kane Chapman-Kenny, they are livid at the moment. They are having stern words with the referee, but what a turn of events. The first half, I said that all it takes is one run to change momentum. We saw that in the opposite sense with Kane Chapman-Kenny and Malachi Booth changing the momentum for Manly. But the skipper, Lachlan Martin, he has changed the momentum for Penrith. All of a sudden, they should only be 6 points down as long as Mark Lee converts this.
Slight headwind for the Panthers coming in, so he'll start it to the right, hope to bring it round. It sneaks around on the inside of the left-hand upright. 24 points to 18 here at Brookvale. I'm not sure if we're going to get a replay of Lachlan Martin in the clear. The look on his face was pure excitement and confusion at the same time. I'm not sure he's ever seen himself with a clear run 80 metres to the try line. But for a moment there, I thought he was going to get there. I think it was Chaz Dingo who eventually ran him down. But setting his team up, and they are well and truly back in this game. 55 minutes gone. The Manly Seagulls leading 24-18. But we are in for a final 25 minutes to remember if the Panthers can stay in this one.
Yeah, look, I think Lachlan Martin's still on his haunches down there. He's gassed, but it was such a good run. Now, Penrith, they have to roll off the back of that. Here comes the big fella now. Oh, and he breaks straight through. You better believe it, and gets the offload away, but Brody Kennedy gets driven back. But, you know, they've got to play off the back of that as Mark Lee doesn't get to dummy half for a moment there. They go long out to Fisher, and Fisher's is away. This is what I'm talking about. This is good stuff. They've got to play off the back of that. They've got to play with the momentum they just earned.
They've got good field position here. One thing I noticed during the conversion, Chapman-Kenny continued to talk to the referee. He's going to have to be careful. Referee won't put up with that for much longer as the ball to Markwell picks it up. What a grab by the young rookie for a moment. I thought he was Malachi Booth, who makes a try-saving tackle. And the Seagulls, well, they are just hanging on here. Couple of their big forwards look absolutely gassed at the moment. We've only just started the second half.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I keep talking about it. I think people are sick of hearing about it, but that Lachlan Martin run, they had to sprint back to get back on side from that run, and I think it's taken a bit of wind out of them, but now they can try and drive their way forwards. It's this man, Chapman-Kenny, who's going to come in field and make strong runs like that to try and take some pressure off of their forwards. Penrith, they've got to try and keep them as far into their own end as they can. Harris
runs it forward. The vice-captain trying to step up and fight a few extra meters. He hasn't had the biggest game so far, Harris. He's been relatively quiet compared to what we've come to see. I tell you, one player who has had probably one of the best games we've seen in a long time, and that's Nathan Fisher, who just plays the ball, his second game at fullback. And he has had a pretty good game so far, and he's over 135 metres so far in this game as Malchus bumps off one, finds Lee. They go to Fisher once again. Manly player takes him down just over the halfway line. As we click over the 60-minute mark, 1/4 of the game remaining as Crutcher bursts through the middle. Had Martin on his outside, decides to hold it. Tackle 4, still a tackle in hand as Pache runs it forward. Drives the leg just short of the 10. So now they'll be looking for a kick that comes right down on the try line. It's your man, Ash Crutcher, Jack. Puts it up Ethan Goodwin does well to take it down. Hands above the head. AFL style take. And the Seagulls, for the second time in a couple of minutes, they are on survival mode.
Much better kick, and it's that man who like you said, who I called out, Ash Crutcher, putting his hand up and putting a beautiful bomb into the corner. Unlucky not to be able to lock Ethan Goodwin down in the corner there, but regardless, Penrith, they can wind up now and they can put some big shots on and keep Manly within their half.
As they go to Bennett, who will kick. Playing in that number 13 role for the second 40 minutes as Fisher collects it. Good chase from the Manly outside backs, led by Will Kay. They stay short side. Kennedy finds Edwards, but he's marked well by his opposite winger, which is Oldfield. Kennedy hands on the ball to Martin, trying to force his way through the smallest gap possible. It was Goodwin who took him down. They stay this near side. Kennedy changes it, finds Pache, and then Fisher on the inside. A big tackle on Fisher. And held down long in the tackle. Referee speaking to the Manly defence. They are getting a lot of attention by the referees at the moment. The game has definitely swung in the way of the Panthers as they find the final tackle. Crutcher, hands on the ball once again. They go down to Booth. Dangerous on the returns. Malachi Booth gets through the first line of defence. Fisher's coming across. He's still a couple of metres away. He looks like he might have Booth in his eyesight. He takes him, but not before he gets inside the Panthers 10. Big opportunity here for the Manly Seagulls. Bennett charging it forward, still a couple of metres out, numbers to the left, they go left to Joshua Blackburn, hard to stop, the second rower comes centre, but the Panthers look to have done the deed so far.
Momentum may have just shifted.
As they play the ball, tackle 3, still tackles remaining in this set. Harris will set it up around about 5 out, 15 metres in from the far touchline to Goodwin. That's Brad looking to hold him up. The Panthers, once again, they are playing to their full potential at the moment. They feel like they are well and truly in this one. Final tackle, Vaughan goes to Dingo, looks to run on the final. It's charged down by a Manly player. Chapman Kenny is screaming at the referee, calling for a tackle recount. The referee wants nothing to do with it.
I'll tell you what, Penrith, they are showing a lot of heart in this game, but I think that defensive lapse at the start of the second half might just cost them at the moment. They are showing so much heart and pride, but that 6-point buffer is just causing a lot of stress for them. They still need to find points, but right now they are playing for everything.
You can see KCK at the back there just screaming at his players, trying to organise their defensive line, knowing that they are coming up against a hungry Panthers side who are ready to tear these Seagulls apart if they get the chance. Sinclair takes it, settles it just over the Manly side of halfway. It's final tackle now. 67 minutes gone here at Brookvale. Kennedy will kick. This time comes near side to the wing of Kelly. Hasn't had a very big second half, Joey Kelly. Relatively quiet. Needs to get infield, get his hands on the ball. If there's anyone that can spark a second half, well, not a comeback, but it's just a second half explosion, it's Joey Kelly. As Kay goes long to Chapman Kenny. Finds Lewis on the inside. Good support play from the hooker. Taken down on the 20. Still tackles remaining here for Manly. They go left to Dingo, to Harris. Tackle count is appearing. It's a tackle recount for the Seagulls. They come right. Chapman Kenny cuts through one. Too hard to stop. He will not go without a try in this game. And the Seagulls, we're going to go upstairs for a possible obstruction. The bunkers only looking at the put down. I thought there was a possible obstruction with Dingo going behind one of his ball runners. The bunkers only looking at the put down, and they've called a try here.
Yeah, look, I don't think there was much of an obstruction. If he did run behind a ball runner, Chaz Dingo, it definitely did obstruct the defence. It was pretty soft defence overall on Kane Chapman Kenny. But I want to give 2 big raps. I want to give 1 rap to Penrith. I have never seen a side test this absolute juggernaut of a Manly side so much as they have in a very, very long time. But Manly, You know, they look down and out, but every time they look down and out, it's two men for them that make these big breaks, these big runs, and really stand up for them. And at the moment, it's been Kane Chapman-Kenny and Malachi Booth. Kane Chapman-Kenny gets a reward for just, keeping Manly in this game at times. He's made some big covering tackles, made some big runs up the middle, and Manly, they look ready to close this one out.
Well, I haven't seen Kane Chapman-Kenny as serious as I've seen him in the second half especially. He knows that this is a big game and he can tell that Penrith are up for it. They were tested last week against the Warriors, and that probably the first 50 or 60 minutes the Warriors really tested that Manly side out. But the Panthers have shown that they are well and truly in this game. There's still 10 minutes remaining. They're only down by 12. But they really have to score in the next 5. A try to Manly here would seal it. But the Panthers have to score next as Booth, again, finds metres down that far touchline, gets away from the first defender, eventually taken down by Saddle Cart. Vaughan. Inside the 30 they go. Final tackle. They'll probably look for a short chip here as Kay does that. Sends it down to Marshall Edwards, who juggles the ball for a moment, almost knocked it on, allowed the Manly defence to get up on him and didn't have any chance to find his way upfield in a kick return. Martin this time. So 8.5 minutes remaining. Panthers need to find Nathan Fisher. He has been the most electric player so far here tonight. Sinclair will play it with Lee at dummy half. They go back inside to Luke Malchus, back on the park for the final 15 minutes of this game. Crutcher kicks early, but doesn't contact it well and doesn't get enough distance as Chapman-Kenny returns it, and already inside the Panthers' half are the Seagulls.
Yeah, look, not the greatest kick from Ash Crutcher. He's definitely stepped up in this game when he's needed to try and support his team, but that just was not the right kick. But now Manly, they can close out this game if they find points, or they can just kick it to the corner and defend their way to victory.
So it's Will Kay who is going to set it up around about 33 metres out. They go to Lewis. They go short to Harris, who drives the legs and tries to get the hands free. Had Ethan Goodwin on his outside. Dingo this time. Kicks on the 5th. Going to test out Marshall Edwards. Not in position. In fact, it's Fisher who has to make a play at the ball. And he does well to get out of his in goal. He was under pressure for a moment there, and they've tried to force the ball on the first tackle. Mallett's come away with it, juggled the ball himself for a moment, does well to hold on to it, but the Seagulls, early tackle sets inside the Penrith half as they go outside to Maverick Oldfield, but the referee calls a forward pass.
Yeah, right call by the referee. It was attractive ball work there from Manly, but, he just didn't quite time his run right there, Maverick Oldfield. The Manly ball player had to pause and then throw that pass. Probably should have held on to it. But Penrith, they're not quite out of this game yet. They've got 5 minutes, but they need to score essentially now if they want any hope of coming back and forcing this game in the golden point.
That's right. They have to score the set. They have to get deep down into the Manly half and get a good kick away. They're not far enough up either. They've got a good run here through Sinclair. They got one through Martin. They're not going to get it. The Manly defence is too good. Now they're going to have to try and force an error from Manly in this set as Crutcher gets the good kick away. Booth will return it. As we've said already, he's dangerous on the returns. He's taken down when after a good chase from the Penrith outside backs. Now they need to force an error, Penrith, as they go to Goodwin. Gets the offload to Harris. That was an opportunity as Harris himself tries to get his hands free. Still trying to force the offloads here, Manly. Mallet finds Kay. Starting to force the ball here, the Seagulls. Trying to finish it off. 3 minutes remaining here at Brookvale. Blackburn forces his way through. Blackburn has Will Kay on his inside. Decides to settle on the Penrith 10. Can they settle it with a try? Inside to Chapman-Kenny. Looking for a double. The fullback can't get it down. Referee will say held up. And I think that was the final tackle of the set. No, one remaining. Dingo. And he will run it. That's a bit of miscommunication between the Manly halves. maybe just as confused as I was, as Lee will restart for Penrith. 80 metres to go, 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think Dingo got a bit confused because usually it's Kane McKennie pouring through on those grubbers, and Dingo would obviously set him up for Kane, but Kane was tackled in that previous play, so he had no one to kick to. But at the end of the day, that's not a bad result for them. They don't have to worry about kick returns or wingers getting that ball off a kick. They just get to wind up now, and they're at the fourth and they're barely reaching the halfway line. And we've only got a minute left. Penrith, they might be able to find a consolation try, but it's been a great performance from Manly. They just stand up when they need to.
They've played well tonight, Penrith. They'll come up against the Cowboys next week, back at home at Bluebet Stadium, while the Seagulls away to the Rabbitohs at ANZ. As they are approaching full time here at Brookvale Oval, it's Manly who will extend their winning streak to 18 games here in the SRL. Unheard of, unmatched. Possibly will never be seen again. Final tackle of the game. Kay will take it forward. It's the Seagulls. Bank the 2 points and will move to the top of the SRL table for the time being. 30 points to 18, taking the win. But it was a lot closer than the score suggests, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Penrith players and fans can really be proud of that performance. They really stuck it to Manly. Unfortunately, it's just the class difference and the experience of Manly. Penrith have got a very young forward pack overall, whereas that Manly forward pack is just so experienced, so dominant, and they cause a lot of problems for Penrith early. And unfortunately, those early little lapses in concentration from Penrith, they conceded 2 tries in the first 12 minutes and then a try in the first 5 minutes of the second half. That's 3 tries. Take those tries away and they win. But, when they're in the grind, they were really good, Penrith, but Manly just stood up when they needed to.
Yeah, you're right. It was the opening 5 minutes of each half. That was the difference, really. You look at the stats there, there's nothing that really separates the sides. Missed tackles against Manly. They were 14-7 down for missed tackles in the first half. They probably performed better defensively in the second half. But, overall, a pretty even contest as we look at some of the stats. Run meters for the Seagulls. Malachi Booth, we mentioned, was dangerous on returns. 215 run meters. Matthew Harris, again, performing well in the forwards. I thought Matthew Vaughan played well in that second 40 when he came on in the halves. Really directed his side around the park well. Only 1 error. 2 errors for Chaz Dingo in the halves. In saying that, we have seen a fair few errors within the halves across all sides so far this season. Speaking of errors, Matthew Harris was actually leading the error count across the competition earlier at the start of this game. He'll be pleased to see no errors for him. We look at the Panthers side. Mark Lee, 262 run meters. Lachlan Martin, another forward, probably the best forward performance out of both sides. 206, his best performance of the season. Nathan Fisher, probably his best game in the Panthers colour. But yeah, overall, I think there was a couple of Manly players who really stood out for me. Jesse Bennett, obviously, we've come to expect big performances from him. Chaz Dingo is playing well in the halves. I thought Lennox Prakash had a good first 40 minutes in the front row for Manly. And then other players like Malachi Booth, Maverick Oldfield, and some of their junior players just really stepped up, and just the Panthers just couldn't hold it. And like we said earlier, it was those opening 5 minutes of each half that was the telling factor.
Yeah, I think Manly, they always come out with so much intensity and very fresh as well. So I think that, that did take Penrith by surprise. I give Penrith a big chance next week against the Cowboys if they play like they did tonight, whereas Manly, they roll on. They're just too good at the moment.
Cheers, Jack. Well, it was good to have you in the booth with me once again. But for everyone watching, stay tuned. Coming up next, live from Eden Park, it's the Warriors taking on the Broncos, which will be one of those epic clashes we have come to expect between those two sides. But for now, that's all here on SRL TV. We'll see you soon next time.